Sachinanda Prabhu, you can ask your question.
Okay. So, Prabhuji, this is not my question. This is a question of one Mataji who asked me to ask because she wasn't able to join the question. So her question is, what does mean when it says lunar eclipse is affecting some stars or rashis and zodiacs and zodiac Sagittarians? Do we need to take precautions? If so, like what? Do you want me to repeat this question?
No, I understood.
Okay.
Well, in case of eclipse, the only precaution one can take is if one engages during the time of eclipse, especially, the day of eclipse, if a person engages more and more in spiritual activities, that takes care of all the ill effects of the eclipse, because the maximum effect of eclipse is during the time of eclipse itself. The effect remains for some cases few months, and at the most up to 1 year the effect remains like that, but the maximum effect is during the time of eclipse. So what a person does during the time of eclipse is actually very crucial and important. So if we are engaging ourselves in hearing and chanting Krishna's glories, then we don't have to worry about anything. Yes, eclipse does affect different people in different aspects of their life, mainly affecting the mind. Because moon represents the mind, collective mind of all the living entities. So when the moon is eclipsed, it definitely affects the mind of all the living beings. And the best remedy to make the mind immune to the effect of eclipses by engaging, hearing and chanting, or engaging oneself in remembering Krishna's glory at the time of eclipse. Beside that, we don't have to take any other precaution. There's nothing really we can do much about. But all we can do is just engage ourselves in spiritual activities.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Vinita Mataji, you can ask your question.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandat Pranam. Prabhuji, my question is how to understand mind, intelligence, and false ego?
How to understand mind, intelligence, and false ego.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So,
and what is the purpose? How to engage and what is the purpose of this, Prabhuji?
well, mind, intelligence, and false ego are nothing but the part of our body. Body, different ingredients. Body is made up of different ingredients, and ingredients among the different ingredients among the body are also mind, intelligence, and false ego. Just give me 1 second. So all the three ingredients can be understood in different way. For example, let's start with false ego. What is false ego? False ego means in the sense of identity. And false ego means the false sense of identity. So all of us, we have some identity. We identify ourselves. For example, somebody asks me, who are you? I say I'm Indian, or I say I'm American. I say I'm man, or I'm woman, or I am black or white, or I'm engineer or doctor. All these are nothing but attributes connected to body. Nothing connected to soul. Soul is neither man, or woman. Soul is neither Indian, American, or European. Soul is neither Hindu or Muslim. Soul is neither black or white. Okay? Soul is neither engineer, doctor, or lawyer. So all these are nothing but attributes or some designation connected to body. Okay? So a person who identifies himself with the body thus identifies himself with the attributes or designations of the body. That sense of identity is called false ego, because it is false. It's not really true identity, it's false identity. So therefore it's called false ego. Okay. Now, mind and intelligence, they work, the Upanishads explain, the mind works like the reins and intelligence works as a driver. So this whole body is compared with the chariot. So in the chariot, on the chariot, there are 5 horses which are pulling the chariot. And the driver who's driving the horse carriage is the intelligence, and it is driving the horses or driving the horse carriage through the medium of reins. The driver holds the reins in the hand, right? So reins are nothing but the mind. So mind is the reins, intelligence is the driver, and soul is the passenger who's supposed to tell the driver where to go. And the horses are nothing but our 5 senses. Practically the whole body is pulled in different direction by these 5 senses. So mind has a function of controlling the senses, and intelligence's function is to direct the mind where to take the horses, where to take the horse carriage. So a purified intelligence which is under the direction of the soul, when we understand that I am not this body, I am spirit soul, when we are not situated in false ego, but when we are trying to remember always our identity, which is nothing but true ego, then the passenger who's sitting in the vehicle, that is soul, directs the intelligence, which is driver, where he wants to go. The person who has true ego, he identifies Gopi Bhartur Padakamalayur Das Dasanu. I am servant of the Krishna, of the servant of Krishna. Therefore, I should engage myself in service of Krishna. So soul directs the intelligence in this way. I need to engage myself in service of Krishna. Okay. And intelligence has direction that, okay, I need to engage in the service of Krishna. So directs mind accordingly. And the mind directs the senses accordingly. Okay. But in conditioned state, what is happening is the passenger is sleeping. The soul is actually in the sleeping state. And because the soul is in the sleeping state, the driver doesn't have any direction. So because direction, the driver is not holding tightly the reins are also loose. The mind is uncontrolled. And mind is uncontrolled, so the one horse is pulling in one direction, another horse pulling another direction. So mind, the reins which are supposed to tightly control the horses, is actually being completely loose, and therefore the whole horse carriage is in chaos. One horse is going in this direction, another horse is going in this direction. Okay. So therefore, the condition of such a person in the material consciousness is very precarious, because all the senses are trying to pull him in different directions. So this is how we understand. It is because of the false ego, or the false sense of identity, the person develops the different sense of identity, and because of that identity, the person develops different kinds of desires. based on the false ego. So the function of mind is mainly to desire, accept, and reject. These are the main functions of mind. Desiring, okay, I want to eat this nice food. I want to go in this such and such place. These are the desires cultivated by the mind. Okay. And similarly, accepting and rejecting is also a function of the mind. The mind accepts something immediately. Okay, I want to have this. The next moment, mind may say, oh, I don't want to have this. So accepting, rejecting, and desiring, these are the functions of the mind. And intelligence function is mainly to analyze anything or any situation for the purpose of executing the order of the driver and the order of the passenger. So intelligence simply works for the purpose of analyzing. I hope that answers your question, Madhuri.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, so means actually ego is means our true identity, and false ego is that we are body.
Yes.
Everything is related to body.
Yes.
So means we have to come from false ego to ego position.
Yes. From false ego to true ego position.
Okay. Yes, true ego. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Madhuri.
Oh, I have a related question. Can I ask? So, Prabhu, I was just thinking that so when we say subtle body belongs to mind, intelligence, and false ego, the mind is the one that giving you the thought that you're the body, right?
No. The thought is actually coming from the false ego.
Oh, mind is not giving the thought, Prabhu. All the thoughts that we get in our head is because of the mind, right?
No, thoughts are the function of the mind. Thinking, feeling, willing,
Yeah.
accepting, rejecting, they are functions of the mind. But the sense of identity in itself is an ingredient which is superior to the mind and intelligence as well.
Oh.
See, because sense of identity cannot exist in the mind and intelligence. It can exist only in a living consciousness. Only living consciousness can have the sense of identity, right?
Yeah, the soul, right, Prabhu?
The soul. Soul can have sense of identity. So when the soul's sense of identity is misplaced, that is called false ego. So false ego is considered most close to the soul because it is nothing but sense of identity for the soul.
Still, it is different from the soul because we say our subtle body is mind, intelligence, and false ego. So false ego is not really the soul.
So you can say false ego is the closest covering of the soul. Closest covering of the soul, because immediate covering of the soul is false ego, which is nothing but the false sense of identity soul has.
So we have to, once we understand that we are an eternal servant of Krishna, so the false ego becomes the real ego.
Yes, that is purifying the ego. The ego becomes purified.
Okay. What is it that we have to do to really purify the ego completely, Prabhu? I mean, theoretically, I understand I am the servant of Krishna, but still I lord it over material nature in several instances. So
when we understand that I'm actually servant of Krishna and engage in appropriate activities of serving Krishna, that is the way of what do you call it? Removing the false ego and being situated in the true ego. It's just like this, it's a common principle when a person is forgetful about his identity because of some shock or something, the person has forgotten his identity. Okay, so the doctor generally recommend for a patient is that he should be kept in a place or environment which the person used to like most, or which was the most cherished memory for the person. So they recommend, right, that he should be kept in that environment, try to remind him more and more about his past. That is the only way that person can revive. So similarly, false ego is nothing but a shock kind of a person. The living entity has forgotten its real constitutional position, which is to be servant of Krishna. So by engaging in devotional service of Krishna, the soul is actually trying to keep itself into the original atmosphere, which is very close to the soul.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. I have one more related question, but I don't know how many questions are there on the chat, but maybe I will ask after, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Satchinanda Gauranga Prabhu, you can answer.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandat Pranam. In one of the purports, I think we saw like absolute time. Like, how do we understand absolute time? Because at least to my understanding, is only through measurement of time is what my understanding. I mean, so most of the science fiction videos say that the time, like Mars time is slightly, like day is like lesser, Earth day is like slightly longer. If you go towards a black hole, like the day will increase. So how do we understand absolute time? We know time is Krishna only. So how to understand that? Is there any easier way to understand, or is only Krishna different energy?
But if you say want to understand time or kala, it's like trying to say that I want to understand Krishna completely.
It's so tightly coupled with Krishna. It's so not different from Krishna.
Kalosmi lokakshakrita. Time I am. So it's actually very difficult to comprehend or fully understand the workings of time. But Bhagavatam just gives some small hints or ideas about to understand what is time. For example, if Vidura explains, Kala Paramadustara. He says, Pratikriyana Yasvara Kutaschit Karhichit Prabhu, Saesha Bhagavan Kala, Saveshanna Samangata. Now, there is no remedy. Kutaschit Karhichit Prabhu. Vidura is instructing Dhritarashtra, my dear brother, my dear Prabhu, Pratikriya na yasyora. There is no remedial measure for time. Pratikriya. Pratikriya means remedial measure. So there is no remedial measure for time. Pratikriya nasyora kutashit karichit prabhu. You do whatever you want to do, but you cannot remedy times. Because Saesha Bhagavan Kala. The same Lord Sri Krishna, Bhagavan, has approached all of us in the form of time, and therefore cannot be remedied. So time is actually non-different from Krishna. So since time cannot be remedied, time cannot be fully comprehended or understood. But what we understand from Bhagavatam, like we're reading on the 3rd canto now, so the time, the different minute details of time are given only to make us understand how imperceptibly the time is actually moving and steals away the duration of life from everyone. In our vernacular language, there's a saying, beautiful saying in Sindhi. Choran wange aam chura, samjhu ke samjan. This is the poetry kind of, we used to learn in our childhood. So the time is saying I move like a thief. Only highly intelligent people can see and understand that. So it's actually very difficult for ordinary people to understand the movements of time. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Gaurav Nantani Prabhu, you want to say something?
Prabhuji, actually, it is just today is Ashar Ekadashi, and wish everyone happy Ashar Ekadashi. Vittala, 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 and I'm sure today actually time is actually very few less time left. So Prabhuji, just uh, the next class, if you can devote some time for the pastime of Ashar Ekadashi and Pandharpur.
Sure, Prabhu. So, of course, tomorrow is the Ekadashi here in US, but in India, it's already started the Ekadashi. This is considered very special Ekadashi because this is the day when the Lord, it's also called Deva Shayani Ekadashi, Ashadi Ekadashi or Deva Shayani Ekadashi, because this is the day when all the Devas, all the demigods and Lord Vishnu, they all go to sleep. We understand from Bhagavatam that in the heavenly planets, 1 year is equal to 1 day. 1 year on an earthly planet is equal to 1 day on the heavenly planets. Okay. So the demigods, they go to sleep during this time. So it's almost like, because Dakshinan begins. That is the time, generally the evening time or night time begins in heavenly planets. Okay. So the demigods and Lord Vishnu, they go to sleep at this time. And then they sleep for exactly 4 months, which is equivalent to 8 hours in the heavenly planets. So approximately 8 hours. But then in the month of Kartik, at the end of Kartik, the Shukla Ekadashi that comes is called Deva Utthana Ekadashi. It's called Deva Shayana Ekadashi and it's called Utthana Ekadashi, which is also the disappearance day of Srila Gaur Kishore Babaji Maharaj. So that is the Ekadashi on the day where Lord Vishnu and all the Devas, they arise from the slumber. So because Lord Vishnu and all the Devas, they are sleeping during these 4 months, no yagyas or no Agni yagyas, Agni Hotras and all yagyas are performed during this time because none of the Devas can come and participate in these yagyas. So in these 4 months, people are expected to simply, engage in the bhajan and kirtan of the Lord. These 4 months are also equivalent to Chaturmasya in India, the monsoon season, where actually sannyasis and mendicants, they generally don't travel. They stay at one place and simply try to do bhajan, living a very simple life. So, and also, this is the beginning of Chaturmasya, the 4 months where actually one can take to different forms of austerities. As the first month of Chaturmasya begins, we refrain from spinach. Second month, we refrain from yogurt. Third month, milk. And fourth month, all the heavy beans, including urad dal. So the whole idea is during these 4 months, we try to perform austerity and worship the Lord, worship the Supreme Lord, engage more and more time in spiritual activities. And of course, in our Vaishnava tradition, it's not so much emphasized, but the 4th month of Chaturmasya, especially Kartik month, we do follow, rigidly and try to perform more and more spiritual activities. So, and especially in Maharashtra, this Ekadashi is celebrated in a very big way. the devotees of Lord Vittala, they come actually from all over Maharashtra walking. The devotees actually take two weeks to walk from their different places all over Maharashtra. They walk to Pandharpur, which is actually the holy abode of Lord Pandrinath. So this is actually a very auspicious day to engage into more and more spiritual activities, especially hearing and chanting Krishna's glories.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Shirisha
But
Mataji.
today, actually, there is a curfew in Pandharpur
I know,
because of COVID situation.
because of this pandemic, there is
Yes,
but
there is a curfew.
but even though curfew is there, it doesn't hinder our spiritual activities, because by mercy of Srila Prabhupada and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have the access to worship the Lord in a very simple and sublime way, even while sitting at home. Whatever austerities generally devotees perform by walking to Pandharpur and different ways can actually be excelled simply by engaging in hearing and chanting Krishna's glories, sitting at home.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hearing Krishna.
Shirisha Mataji, you can ask your question.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam. Prabhuji, I would like to know what is upasana kanda means, like karma kanda, gnana kanda, and upasana kanda. What is upasana kanda mean?
Upasana kanda is nothing but the worship of different deities. So Upasana kanda includes worship of Vishnu and also includes worship of different demigods. So the process of worshipping different demigods and Lord Vishnu is part of Upasana kanda.
So what is their destination, Prabhu?
Well, Upasana kanda again has upasana of different devas and Lord Vishnu as well. So one who engages in the worship of Lord Vishnu, so that is equivalent to the process of one of the Navada Bhakti process called Archana. Because Upasana means also equivalent to Archana. When a person is actually engaging in deity worship, he is doing Archana. But when a person is doing Upasana of different devas, then the destination, as Krishna says in Gita, would be going to the planets of different demigods. Yanti deva vatan devan, pitran yanti pitradan, bhutani yanti bhuteja. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, the different worshippers of different demigods have the destination accordingly.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Anuradha Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Today's text 14 Prabhuji. Translation, I didn't get that one. There are 9 different kinds of creation besides the one which naturally occurs due to the incarnations of the modes. There are 3 kinds of annihilations due to the eternal time, the material elements, and the quality of one's work. Can you explain this translation, Prabhuji?
Vijay Prabhu, could you just display the translation?
Yes, Prabhuji. 1 second.
One second.
Sure.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Which verse, Mataji?
Text 14 Prabhuji. Canto 10, chapter 10, text 14 Prabhuji.
There are 9 different kinds of creation beside the one which naturally occurs due to the interaction of the modes. There are 3 kinds of annihilations due to eternal time, the material elements and the quality of one's will. The scheduled creations and annihilation take place in terms of supreme will. There are other creations due to interaction of material element which take place by the intelligence of Brahma. Later, these will be more explicitly explained. At present, only preliminary information is given. The 3 kinds of annihilations are due to scheduled time of annihilation of the entire universe due to the fire which emanates from the mouth of Ananta, and due to one's qualitative action and reactions. Okay. So these are the 3 kinds of dissolutions which are explained. Naimetika, the ultimate annihilation, which takes place when Brahma also destroyed. And then partial annihilation, when only the lower regions of the universe are inundated and destroyed. And then there's also continual annihilation. Continual annihilation means different living entity die because of the passage of time. So that's called continuous annihilation. So these 3 kinds of annihilations exist in the process of destruction. And the different kinds of creation, which 9 creations are referred here, is nothing but the creation of different demigods, the different species of life, which Brahma will be creating. He'll create devas, he'll create asuras, he'll create, different kinds of living entities. So they are categorized into 9 different categories, which will be described in the forthcoming verses.
So this all will takes place in when Brahma creates a creation, and in between also it will be happen.
Creations does happen, by Brahma, and of course, once the Brahma creates, then the cycle is set into motion. The devas continue to create devas. Asuras continue to create asuras.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, in the same purport with Mataji has asked, there are, that is 3 kinds of annihilation is mentioned, right? So when these things happen, Prabhu?
That's what we discussed, right? 3 kinds of annihilation is: one is ultimate annihilation when Brahma's duration of life is over. Second is partial annihilation, which happens at the end of Brahma's day every day. And third is continuous annihilation, which happens for all the living beings. Like, every day, especially in the summertime, you see outside your home, you'll see a lot of bugs will be dead. Continuous annihilation taking place. Human beings are dying also on continuous basis. Every day you see then the number of deaths due to COVID is increasing. So that's a continuous annihilation. And the significator or the cause of these all 3 kinds of annihilation is Lord Shiva. He's the one who actually causes these 3 kinds of annihilations.
So the fire of Ananta is referred to the complete annihilation?
Yes, that's the last or the ultimate annihilation of this universe.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
We can take one more question, Prabhu. Remaining we can ask later.
Sure.
So, Sukeshi Mataji, you can ask.
Prabhu, I was just thinking about the intelligence that we were talking about, Prabhu, intelligence and the thing. So we know that the mind has feeling, willing, and thinking. So is there any particular component for intelligence, Prabhu? I mean, this is what I had heard, that intelligence, basically our intelligence gets perfected, like in the analogy of where Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that the intelligence is actually the charioteer. So who's holding the minds, the reins. So I was wondering that is there any particular component, like we say feeling, willing, and thing, like basically thinking, that is all mind, then is there a particular thing that we can feel about the presence of intelligence?
Yes. Analysis. Analysis is nothing but the function of mind, or what do you call very organized action towards achieving particular goal. Is nothing but the function of the intelligence. Mind can only desire, oh, I want to eat gulab jamun. But the intelligence is the one which organizes, okay, gulab jamun, I don't know how to make gulab jamun. So let me go online and search the recipe. Okay, this is the recipe. So I need these ingredients. So I'll go and get all those ingredients. And then I plan, follow the recipe and try to cook accordingly. So this is the nothing but the function of intelligence. Intelligence organizes to execute a particular will of the mind, helps the mind, to organize and achieve that task. So organizedly analysis or organizing something to achieve a particular goal is the function of mind.
You mean intelligence, Prabhu?
Yes. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Intelligence.
Yeah. Okay. No. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. Because I always, you can feel the presence of mind sometimes when mind gives you all these thoughts. But I was just trying to, so our organization and analysis is intelligence. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. So there is one more.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Vinita Mataji, you can explain.
Yes, okay. Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, actually, that question was long for me, but when I heard your question answers of yesterday of 29th, I got that answer. That was the 300,000 holy names about. How can we recite? So my question is that what mantra Haridas Thakur recite, Prabhuji? Was it Hare Krishna Mahamantra only?
Yes, Mataji. You should chant
So,
same.
so it is 16 syllables like this, 16 namas?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that disturbed me a lot of time. How one could chant Mahamantras 3 lakhs times, Prabhuji. So I got that answer from your session.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So it's not actually it's 32 syllables and 16 words.
Oh yeah, 16 words. Yes, right.
16
so
words.
It's counted 16 words, no? Holy names means 16 holy names.
Yes, 16 holy names in one mantra. And when you chant one round, that will be 16 multiplied with 108.
Okay. So we can also consider like that, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji, we can consider like that. That approximately comes to be about
27,000 something.
192 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
Yes, Prabhuji. Okay. But just very hard to chant 192 rounds in a day. It's very difficult.
It's definitely hard, but if we have like-minded devotees, someday we could actually do that.
So Prabhuji, just to, with our 16 rounds also, we are chanting 27,000 names a day.
Yes.
Whereas we are taking 22,000 breaths a day.
Yeah.
So every breath have one name at least.
Yeah.
So Prabhu, how long does it take if you have to chant 30,000? You had mentioned yesterday that there are people who do it every Ekadashi.
It goes on up to almost like 19 to 20 hours. They chant. They start 5 in the morning and they go up to midnight.
Have you ever done it, Prabhu?
I never did it, Mataji. Maximum I chanted was 100 and I think 16 rounds one time.
Wow.
We were going to
Great.
Google on that time. That time we had chanted so many rounds.
Pray for us, Prabhuji. At least we
Thank
also.
you, Prabhu.
Someday I think we will chant together.
Yes, definitely.
Jai.
I hope by all of your association, someday we will be able to do that.
Prabhu, I was thinking that I know we have to stand slowly. We have to go up the ladder. So, I mean, I don't know whether it's possible for all the time. Can we try Ekadashi 64 rounds, Prabhu?
Sure, Mataji, definitely. We can try.
Tomorrow is Ekadashi.
Yeah, we can definitely try. Before. I always try to chant more and more on Ekadashi or even, whenever we time permits. But I know tomorrow is a working day and I have a lot of work pending, which I can see tomorrow going to consume my time. But I'll try my best to chant as many rounds as I can. I know once I start in the morning around 9:30, till 5 in the evening, I won't have any time. Tomorrow is a busy day, going to be a busy day. I tried my best to finish everything today, but a lot of things got pushed to tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Thank you.
but definitely, I think whoever can simply try to chant. I'll also try to chant, definitely at least 25 or whatever rounds I can chant. But if possible, I'll definitely try to chant 64 rounds tomorrow.
Wow.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Krishna. Okay, so I think we can stop here. Thank you very much, everyone.
Vancha kalpa-
Vancha kalpatarubhayasya kripa sindhubhyascha